Alcatraz Island looms ominously in the San Francisco Bay, a place once known as the Rock and now steeped in dark history and eerie legends. Once a maximum security federal prison, Alcatraz housed some of the most notorious criminals in American history. It was a fortress of isolation, surrounded by cold, treacherous waters that promised no escape. The island's bleak landscape and unforgiving environment created an atmosphere of despair, perfectly suited to a place designed to break the spirits of even the hardest men. As the fog rolls in from the Pacific, it blankets the island in a thick, ghostly shroud, muffling the sounds of the city across the bay. The old, decaying buildings stand as silent witnesses to the countless stories of suffering and regret. The rusted bars, cracked walls, and long abandoned cells exude a cold, heavy presence, as if the very stones remember the anguish of the souls once trapped within. Among these souls, one name stands out: James "Blackjack" Dalton. The legend of Dalton, a tragic figure who met a mysterious end within the prison walls, adds to Alcatraz's haunting reputation. It's said that Dalton's spirit, filled with unfulfilled desires and untold sorrow, never left the island. Instead, it remains bound to the cold, damp corridors, forever wandering in search of peace. Visitors today, both daring and curious, come to Alcatraz not just to see a historical site, but to feel the lingering presence of those who lived and died there. The chill in the air, the echo of footsteps in empty halls, and the inexplicable sense of being watched, all these sensations contribute to the island's eerie allure. It is a place where history and the supernatural intertwine, leaving an indelible mark on all who encounter it. And amid this ghostly ambience, the story of James Dalton stands as a poignant reminder of the prison's dark legacy, a tale of a lost soul still haunting the remnants of his past. James "Blackjack" Dalton was born into the grim reality of poverty in the early 20th century. The streets of his hometown were his classroom, teaching him the harsh lessons of survival from a young age. James was quiet and introspective, often lost in thought while his peers played carefree. He found solace in books and developed a passion for poetry, a rare and tender outlet for a boy surrounded by hardship. As he grew older, the weight of his circumstances pressed heavily on him. James's family struggled to make ends meet, and the allure of a life beyond the slums became irresistible. Despite his poetic soul, James's circumstances led him down a darker path. The need to provide for his ailing mother and younger siblings pushed him into the world of crime. He started with petty theft, but soon found himself involved in more serious offenses. His natural intelligence and quiet demeanor made him an effective and elusive criminal. By his early 20s, James had earned the nickname Blackjack not just for his dark, brooding looks, but for the aura of mystery and danger that surrounded him. He quickly became notorious for a string of successful bank robberies across the Midwest. Unlike other criminals of his time, James had a certain code. He never harmed the innocent and always left a portion of the stolen money for those less fortunate. This peculiar sense of morality earned him a strange mix of fear and admiration from the public. However, James's life wasn't just about crime. Beneath his hardened exterior lay a heart burdened with love and regret. He had fallen deeply in love with a woman named Clara, a schoolteacher who saw beyond his rough exterior. Clara was the one person who knew of James's poetic talents and the softer side he kept hidden from the world. Their love was a secret, fraught with the danger of his double life. Clara, aware of James's criminal activities, pleaded with him to leave his life of crime behind and start anew. James, torn between his love for her and his loyalty to his family, struggled with the choice. Tragedy struck when a heist went wrong, leading to James's capture. It was a cold winter night, and James had planned what he hoped would be his last job, a daring robbery that would secure enough money for him and Clara to escape and start a new life. But fate had other plans. An unexpected police raid led to a violent confrontation. In the chaos, James was arrested, and his accomplices were either killed or captured. As he was taken away in handcuffs, James's thoughts were not of his freedom but of Clara. The last glimpse he caught of her tear-streaked face, illuminated by the flashing police lights, haunted him more than the prospect of prison. Sentenced to life in Alcatraz, James entered the fortress with a heavy heart, knowing he had lost the only woman who ever truly understood him. The man who had once navigated the shadows of society with ease now found himself trapped in a place designed to break the strongest of wills. His poetry became his only escape, a silent rebellion against the darkness that threatened to consume him. But even his words couldn't fill the void left by Clara's absence. Dalton, the man of mystery and myth, was now just another prisoner, his story slowly fading into the cold, unyielding walls of Alcatraz. The journey to Alcatraz was a stark and brutal awakening for James Blackjack Dalton. Shackled and escorted by stern-faced guards, he was transported across the frigid waters of San Francisco Bay, the infamous island fortress looming ominously in the distance. As the boat approached, the reality of his fate sank in. Alcatraz was a place where the country's most hardened criminals were sent to disappear, a place with a reputation for breaking even the most resilient spirits. Upon arrival, James was stripped of his civilian identity and issued a prison number. The transition was swift and merciless, a process designed to dehumanize and strip inmates of any remnants of their former selves. The once dapper bank robber was now just another prisoner, a cog in the cold, mechanical operation of Alcatraz. The island's isolated location, surrounded by the treacherous, icy waters of the bay, served as a constant reminder of the inescapable nature of the prison. The notion of freedom became an abstract concept, slipping further away with each passing day. Alcatraz's regime was unforgiving. The guards, known for their harsh and often brutal treatment, ensured that order was maintained at all costs. The prison operated under a strict code of silence. Inmates were not allowed to speak to one another, except during designated times. This enforced silence, coupled with the incessant clang of metal doors and the echoing footsteps of guards, created a suffocating atmosphere that gnawed at the sanity of its residents. For James, who had once lived a life filled with the thrill of the chase and the warmth of secret love, this was a new kind of torture. James's cell was a tiny, claustrophobic space, barely large enough to accommodate a bed, a toilet, and a small shelf. The walls, cold and unyielding, were a constant reminder of his confinement. Here he spent hours staring at the ceiling, lost in memories of his past and thoughts of what could have been. His love for Clara, the woman who had seen the good in him, became his only solace. He clung to the hope that she might still think of him, even as he felt himself fading into obscurity. Her image was the one bright spot in the otherwise monotonous and bleak existence that had become his life. The monotony of prison life was punctuated only by occasional work assignments and the rare moments of respite during recreational periods. James took on a job in the prison's laundry facility, a tedious task that offered little more than a temporary distraction from his thoughts. The work was physically demanding, and the harsh chemicals used in the laundry added to the overall discomfort. But even these moments of labor were a relief from the relentless solitude of his cell. James's isolation extended beyond the physical walls of the prison. Despite his previous life of crime, he was not a violent man at heart. His quiet demeanor and introspective nature set him apart from the more hardened criminals around him. This isolation was further compounded by the strict separation enforced between prisoners. In a place where trust was a luxury few could afford, James found himself truly alone. The once vibrant man, known for his quick wit and sharp mind, was now reduced to a ghost of his former self, drifting through the days in a haze of regret and longing. The psychological toll of Alcatraz was immense. Many prisoners struggled with depression and anxiety, and James was no exception. The lack of meaningful human contact, combined with the constant reminder of his lost freedom, weighed heavily on his mind. Nights were the worst, as the darkness brought with it a crushing silence, interrupted only by the occasional distant cry or the eerie, ghostly sounds of the prison settling. In these moments, James would close his eyes and recite poetry, the only escape he had left. His verses, once filled with love and hope, now carried the weight of despair and a deep, unending sorrow. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, James's spirit began to erode. The man who had once been known for his charisma and charm was now a shadow, worn down by the relentless monotony of prison life. The weight of his past misdeeds and the reality of his circumstances pressed down on him, leaving him a broken man. Yet, despite the darkness that surrounded him, a small part of James clung to the hope of redemption, a chance to make peace with his past and perhaps, in some small way, find forgiveness. The tale of James "Blackjack" Dalton took a dark and mysterious turn on a stormy winter night in 1943. The guards found his lifeless body in his cell, slumped over a makeshift desk, a piece of paper clutched in his hand. The official report stated that he had succumbed to pneumonia, exacerbated by the harsh, damp conditions of Alcatraz. However, whispers among the inmates and guards suggested a more sinister end. Some claimed that James had been silenced by fellow prisoners who believed he was collaborating with the guards, while others suspected foul play orchestrated by the guards themselves. The exact circumstances of his death remained shrouded in secrecy, adding to the mystique of his story. It wasn't long after his death that strange occurrences began to plague the prison. Inmates and guards alike reported unsettling experiences, particularly around James's old cell. It started with the unmistakable scent of smoke, even though smoking was strictly prohibited and had been absent from the prison for years. The smell would waft through the corridors late at night, accompanied by the faint sound of a melancholy melody, an old folk song that James was known to sing softly to himself. The tune was a haunting reminder of his lost love and his longing for freedom, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the prison. Soon, sightings of a shadowy figure became common. Inmates reported seeing a man in old-fashioned prison garb walking the halls at night, his face pale and gaunt, his eyes filled with a sorrowful intensity. The figure was often seen near the cell that once housed James, standing still as if staring out into the bay, lost in thought. The apparition would vanish without a trace, leaving behind a chill that seeped into the bones of anyone who encountered it. Some claimed that the ghost was James himself, still searching for a way to escape the prison that had claimed his life. The legend of James Dalton's ghost grew as more and more stories surfaced. Guards on night duty reported hearing soft, indistinct whispers echoing through the cell blocks, even when no one else was around. The sounds seemed to carry a plea for forgiveness, a desperate yearning that resonated with those who listened closely. On particularly quiet nights, the clinking of chains could be heard, a spectral echo of the shackles that once bound James and his fellow inmates. One of the most chilling manifestations occurred in the old laundry facility, where James had once worked. Several guards reported witnessing the eerie sight of machines turning on by themselves, the rumble of the washers filling the air. Even though the facility had long been abandoned, the smell of bleach and laundry soap would permeate the room, accompanied by the soft, rhythmic sound of someone humming an old tune. Those who dared to enter the room during these occurrences described a palpable sense of sorrow, as if the very air was thick with the weight of James's unfulfilled desires and regrets. The haunting presence of James Dalton became a part of the fabric of Alcatraz's dark history. His ghostly figure and the strange phenomena associated with him served as a reminder of the prison's harsh realities and the broken lives it contained. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts were drawn to the island, hoping to catch a glimpse of the spectral inmate. Some claimed to feel a cold, invisible touch on their shoulders or hear a soft voice whispering their name. The ghost tours that included stories of James became some of the most popular, each retelling adding another layer to the legend of the sorrowful spirit trapped within the walls of Alcatraz. James's haunting presence was more than just a ghost story, it was a symbol of the pain and isolation that permeated Alcatraz. His unending wandering through the prison's corridors was seen as a tragic reminder of a man who, despite his criminal past, was still a human being with dreams, regrets, and a capacity for love. The specter of James Dalton, forever seeking redemption and a connection that eluded him in life, continued to be a poignant figure in the annals of Alcatraz's ghostly lore. The legend of James Blackjack. Dalton transcended the boundaries of Alcatraz Island, becoming a haunting narrative that captivated the imaginations of many. As the years passed, his story evolved into one of the most enduring and chilling tales associated with the notorious prison. The details of his life, mysterious death, and subsequent spectral appearances were passed down through generations, each retelling adding a new layer of intrigue and fear. James Dalton's legacy became interwoven with the history of Alcatraz, a place already infamous for its brutal conditions and notorious inmates. As stories of his haunting spread, so did the lore of his restless spirit. It was said that James's ghost remained bound to the island, eternally seeking something he could never attain in life: redemption, love, or perhaps a final escape from the prison that had become his eternal torment. His spectral presence was not merely a figure of fear but a poignant reminder of the tragic human condition, evoking both sympathy and dread. Tour guides and paranormal investigators often highlighted James's tale during ghost tours, drawing visitors eager to experience the island's eerie atmosphere firsthand. The chilling accounts of his ghostly figure, the mysterious smells, and the haunting sounds became central features of these tours. The legend suggested that James's spirit was a guardian of sorts, watching over the prison and its dark history, forever linked to the island by the unresolved mysteries of his life and death. As the legend grew, so did the number of theories and interpretations of James's haunting. Some believed that his ghost was a manifestation of guilt and regret, a soul unable to move on because of the unfinished business of his life. The tale of his love for Clara, the schoolteacher who had touched his heart, became a focal point for many. People speculated that James's undying love and the pain of separation from her kept his spirit tethered to the mortal plane. The thought of a love so profound that it could transcend death resonated with many, turning James from a mere criminal into a tragic, romantic figure. Others viewed James's ghost as a cautionary tale, a spectral warning against a life of crime. The eerie phenomena associated with his haunting, the clinking of chains, the cold spots, and the distant whispers were seen as reminders of the consequences of a life spent in pursuit of unlawful gains. James's inability to find peace was interpreted as the ultimate punishment, a never-ending cycle of sorrow and regret that continued to play out long after his physical death. The legend also attracted the attention of paranormal researchers and enthusiasts who sought to document and understand the mysterious occurrences. Numerous investigations were conducted, with varying degrees of success. Some claimed to have captured EVP electronic voice phenomena recordings of James's voice, whispering forlorn messages or reciting lines of poetry. Others reported sudden drops in temperature or inexplicable equipment malfunctions in the areas associated with his presence. These findings, while often controversial, added to the mythos surrounding James and the haunted halls of Alcatraz. As the years went by, the story of James Dalton became an integral part of Alcatraz's identity. His legend was not just a ghost story, but a complex narrative that encompassed themes of love, loss, and the eternal struggle for redemption. It was a tale that resonated with visitors, drawing them into a world where the boundaries between life and death, reality and the supernatural, were blurred. The haunting of James "Blackjack" Dalton became a symbol of the island's dark past and the lingering shadows of its former inmates. His spirit, forever searching for solace, remains one of the most compelling and enduring mysteries of Alcatraz, a ghostly figure wandering the cold, silent halls, a reminder of a life filled with love, crime, and an unending quest for peace. As the legend of James "Blackjack" Dalton continued to echo through the annals of Alcatraz's dark history, the island itself became a symbol of America's most haunted and enigmatic places. James's ghostly presence was not merely a tale of fear, but a poignant reminder of the complex humanity of those who once inhabited the prison. The story of his life and afterlife intertwined with the very fabric of Alcatraz, creating a legacy that captivated the hearts and minds of all who heard it. Visitors who set foot on the island often did so with a mix of trepidation and fascination. The thought of encountering James's restless spirit stirred a sense of wonder and dread. Some came in search of a thrill, hoping to experience the supernatural firsthand. Others sought a deeper understanding of the historical and emotional weight carried by the prison and its former inhabitants. The ghostly sightings, the unexplained phenomena, and the chilling atmosphere all contributed to an experience that was both eerie and profoundly moving. The story of James Dalton serves as a powerful allegory for the broader narrative of Alcatraz. It reflects the isolation and despair that permeated the lives of its prisoners, as well as the unrelenting nature of justice and punishment. James's haunting presence symbolizes the lingering impact of the past and the enduring quest for redemption. His story is a testament to the idea that, even in death, the souls of the lost and forsaken can leave an indelible mark on the living world. The legend of James "Blackjack" Dalton also raises questions about the nature of justice and the human capacity for forgiveness. His ghostly figure, eternally wandering the halls of Alcatraz, serves as a reminder of the complexities of guilt, love, and the consequences of one's actions. The tragic tale of a man who sought redemption and love, only to be thwarted by his own choices and circumstances, resonates with a universal truth: the struggle to find peace and meaning in a world fraught with hardship. While the story of James "Blackjack" Dalton is a fictional creation, it captures the essence of the many real-life legends and mysterious occurrences that haunt the infamous prison. His story is a reminder that the past is never truly gone, and the echoes of those who lived and died in places like Alcatraz can still be felt. The island, with its dark history and ghostly inhabitants, stands as a testament to the enduring power of stories and the human need to remember, understand, and empathize with those who came before. As Alcatraz becomes a museum and tourist attraction, stories like Blackjack's continue to draw visitors from around the world. People come not only to see the historical site, but to connect with the ghostly legacy of its past inhabitants. Spectral figures of lost prisoners like James, forever searching for solace, become a symbol of the unresolved emotions and unfinished stories that linger within the walls of the old prison. Experience the chilling allure of Alcatraz Island with our real-life haunted history tours, where the past comes alive through eerie tales and ghostly encounters. Are you ready to explore the eerie mysteries of Alcatraz Island? Join our haunted tour and uncover the spine-chilling stories and ghostly legends that haunt this infamous prison. From tales of restless spirits to unexplained phenomena, our tour offers a unique glimpse into the dark and supernatural history of Alcatraz. Click the link in the description below to book your tour and experience the chilling allure of the island firsthand. Don't miss your chance to walk in the footsteps of the past and encounter the ghosts that still linger in the shadows. Secure your spot today. We crafted the fictional story of James "Blackjack" Dalton to give a captivating glimpse into the kind of eerie, and compelling narratives you might experience on a haunted history tour of Alcatraz Island. This tale serves to evoke the atmosphere and emotional depth of the real-life legends and paranormal accounts that contribute to Alcatraz's reputation as one of America's most haunted sites. While the story of Black Jack is a creation of our imagination, it encapsulates the essence of the mysterious and supernatural elements often featured in the true stories shared during these tours. Our intention is to engage and intrigue potential visitors, providing a sense of the captivating history and ghostly lore that make Alcatraz a fascinating destination. As you wander through the cold, damp corridors and stand in the cells that once held America's most notorious criminals, you'll hear spine-tingling stories of unexplained phenomena and restless spirits. Discover why Alcatraz is considered one of the most haunted places in America and feel the weight of its dark history through the captivating and eerie narratives shared on our tours. Join us and step into a world where history and the supernatural intertwine, leaving you with unforgettable memories and perhaps a few chills down your spine. If you enjoyed the story of James Black Jack and the haunted history of Alcatraz Island, don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales and eerie legends. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with the latest ghost stories, paranormal investigations, and historical mysteries from around the world. Join our community of fellow thrill seekers and dive deeper into the unknown with us. Your support helps us bring more stories to life and explore the supernatural realm. Those who venture into the depths of this eerie legend are left with an unsettling thought in the shadows of Alcatraz. Reality and fiction meld into a terrifying reflection of human despair. The story of Black Jack serves as a dark mirror, revealing the haunted corners of the human soul and leaving an ominous question in the minds of all who hear it. What horrors might await beyond the veil of death, lurking in the unseen corners of existence?